Hey, what's going on everybody? It's V here. And I wanted to do this video to show you off, or show off rather, my brand new manga setup. As you can see, it's not my usual location, but over the last 6 months since I started this channel, my collection has grown quite a bit. I started off this channel with 180 volumes, and now I'm at close to 380. So my collection pretty much has doubled and then some. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I'm going to start with this middle shelf here. And as you can no doubt see, it is my glorious One Piece shelf. So we got volumes 1 through 27, 28 through 53, 54 through 79. And then down here at the bottom, we have 80, 81, and 82. My Monkey D. Luffy pop figure, and the 3 bonus comics that came with the first 3 box sets. So, I mean, it's One Piece, guys. Really needs no explanation. And then this shelf here is where I keep my one-shots and my larger volumes and just whatever I couldn't find a place for on my manga shelf. So really quick, I want to cover these. We got the Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past manga and the Super Mario Adventures manga, which this was part of a set of comics that was released in Nintendo Power magazine from either 1993 or 1994. But they have since put them in these really nice volumes, and I couldn't be happier to own them. And then we have this set of Attack on Titan playing cards that came with the special edition for volume 16. And then cover this really quick. We have Azumanga Daioh Complete Omnibus, contains all 4 volumes in that series. Really funny high school slice of life comedy series. Definitely recommend checking it out. And then these two, we have Manga Messiah, which basically is as it sounds. It is the story of Jesus Christ done in manga form. Very good read, highly recommend. And then we have Junji Ito's Cat Diary. Junji Ito is actually the forerunner in the horror manga genre, if you were not aware. But I definitely love this, and it really puts cat behavior to a T. If you're a cat person, it definitely should own this manga. Then we have the unofficial Hatsune Mix. A pretty decent read, but I would not recommend it unless you're a Hatsune Miku fan. And then we have Solanin by Inio Asano. Very, very good one-shot. Pretty much a coming-of-age story for adults. And we have All You Need Is Kill with artwork by Takeshi Obata. So you know the artwork will be amazing. And if you've seen the film Edge of Tomorrow, it basically is the same story. But again, very good read. Wolf Children, complete all-in-one. Very, very good series. Actually, it was a little bit of a tearjerker for me. Again, highly recommend. Message to Adolf, my favorite Osamu Tezuka series to date. I only have book 2, as book 1 is severely out of print, like even on eBay and Amazon. It was really hard for me to find unless I wanted to pay out the nose for it, which I will own book 1 at some point, but for right now, I settled with purchasing it digitally, and that did the job for me for now. And then we have Erased 1 and 2, the Omnibus hardcover editions. I know Erased gets a pretty bad rap sometimes, but I personally have enjoyed it. I've only read book 1. I have not yet gotten to book 2, but I am looking forward to it. And then we have JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 Stardust Crusaders, volumes 1 through 3, which is up to date for the English releases. I can't say that I'm a big JoJo fan, but I have personally enjoyed Part 3. So I may at some point pick up Parts 1 and 2, but I'm really in no hurry to do so as of yet. And then here we have my most prized possession as far as manga goes. This is the Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind manga box set. It contains all 7 volumes and 2 glorious, absolutely beautiful hardcover editions. And if you're into manga and anime, you're gonna know Studio Ghibli, and I like at least a handful of their movies. So if you're a fan, highly recommend picking this up. And it is pretty cheap. I think I got this for like $35. So very good buy, very good read. And then down here, start off this row, we have Cardcaptor Sakura in the 3-1 Omnibus editions. We have books 1 through 4, which covers the complete series. Cardcaptor Sakura is a fairly decent series. I did watch the anime a little bit when I was a kid, but at that time I was really into Pokemon, so I really didn't give that much of a chance. But I've thoroughly enjoyed the manga, so I would like to eventually watch the anime again. And then these 3 volumes are just single volume releases that I really couldn't find a place for on my main shelf. So first off, we have Arpeggio Blue Steel Volume 1. I would pitch this as similar to Neon Genesis Evangelion, like a toned down version. So if you've enjoyed that series, you'll definitely like this. And then Dragon Ball Super Volume 1. I'm not that big of a Dragon Ball fan. I mean, I enjoyed watching Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid. I would watch it with my cousins a lot. But Dragon Ball Super is okay, but definitely not as good as the original. And then we have The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess Volume 1. I actually have the rest of the Zelda manga, but I have those in a different location, which I'll explain in a bit. I kept this one separate for right now just because the artwork is so vastly different, which actually is a really good thing. I thoroughly enjoyed this volume. And then we have actually a light novel, My Neighbor Totoro. Again, Studio Ghibli greatness right here. And we have Hatsune Miku Mikuban. And again, it's the same with Hatsune Mix. I would not recommend this unless you're a Hatsune Miku fan. Then we have Jacko the Galactic Patrolman by Akira Toriyama, one-shot volume. Takes place in the Dragon Ball universe, so it is Dragon Ball canon. Pretty good, pretty decent read. Kind of gives you the backstory of Goku's parents. And Jacko was actually featured in the movie Resurrection F, which I have yet to see that movie, but I want to so badly. And then my only other Osamu Tezuka work, The Mysterious Underground Men. Very good series, and actually a very historical series. This one, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was written in 1943. Again, I'm not too sure, but that's a very, very decent read there. And we have 5 centimeters per second. Very good, decent romance series. I think it could have done a lot of things better. But again, it's a very good read if you can find it at a decent price. And then here we have a little bit of my anime. We have the 4 Attack on Titan OVAs that came with the special editions for volume 17 through 20 of the manga, which I have these totally out of order. Then we have one of the Evangelion films and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood Part 1 on Blu-ray. And then down here we have all of Fruits Basket volumes 1 through 12 of the collector's edition, which equals out to volumes 1 through 23 in standard edition. I enjoyed Fruit Basket, I will say that, but it didn't really blow me away like I thought it would. With that being said, I do recommend it to a point, but I don't know if it would become your favorite manga, but that's just me. If it's your favorite, that's totally fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But, again, I am too. So, anyway, moving on, we have Neon Genesis Evangelion, the omnibus editions, which contain volumes 1 through 14, and that series is complete. Very good series. It's kind of like a sci-fi, apocalyptic, seinen type manga. Very action-packed. And a lot of really deep stuff in there, so again, highly recommend that. And then down here, we have my main Dragon Ball series. We have the original Dragon Ball Viz Bigs volumes 4 and 5. I actually have another set of the classic 3-in-1 editions that cover books 1 through 3. But I don't really consider those part of my collection just because of their poor quality. So I will eventually pick up the first 3 Viz Bigs for Dragon Ball, but it's just not on my top priority. And then here we have Dragon Ball Z Viz Bigs 1 through 9. Very good, very classic series. Dragon Ball Z is, again, as I stated before, I loved this when I was a kid. So again, very good. Highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet. And this I just want to cover really quick. We have the complete box set DVDs for Kaleido Star, which actually is my most favorite anime ever. Not a lot of people talk about it though, but I will definitely have to rewatch it and maybe do a review on it at some point. All right, moving over here. This is my main shelf where I have most of my standard size manga. I'm going to start off, well, how I have this shelf started off is my complete series are first. So I don't really have these in any type of alphabetical order, publishing order, or anything like that. All right, starting up here, we have Evergreen volumes 1 through 4. Pretty decent. I don't know if you'll call it like a romance series, but it's definitely shoujo. Very decent series, and it's only 4 volumes, so highly recommend that. And then we have some Disney manga here. First one, we have Big Hero 6, volumes 1 and 2 complete. And as you can pretty much tell, it's based off of the Disney movie. Again, high recommendation there. And then we have all of Kingdom Hearts. We have Final Mix 1 and 2. We have Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, volumes 1 through 4, and volume 4 is a new pickup. And we have Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, volumes 1 through 5 complete. Pretty decent set overall. And then I have, sorry for the glare guys, I have Nichijou, My Ordinary Life, volumes 1 through 8, which this series actually is not complete, but the other 2 volumes to complete the series will be released by the end of the year. So I kind of just put it here, you know, just for space reasons and all. But again, a very, very good, pretty funny. It kind of is similar in some ways to Azumanga Daioh, but I definitely prefer Nichijou over Azumanga Daioh. All right, so we have Orange, the complete collection, 1 and 2 omnibus editions. Orange was a pretty decent series. It didn't grip me like it did a lot of other people, but I definitely do enjoy it. I do think, though, it kind of left off in an awkward, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, like an awkward position. I feel like it could have gone on just a little bit longer, personally. And we have Tokyo Mew Mew omnibus editions. We have volumes 1 and 2, which are 2-in-1s, and then volume 3, which is a 3-in-1. And then A La Mode complete series here. That's a spinoff. And Tokyo Mew Mew kind of reminds me of a cross between Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, and a little bit of Pokemon thrown in. It's a pretty cute, pretty decent series. Do recommend checking it out. Then we have A Silent Voice, volumes 1 through 7, and this by far, or so far I should say, is my favorite series of all time. It's about a girl who is deaf, and she has to endure, you know, with bullying and, you know, disabilities and things like that. But her bully's life changes very drastically for the worse. You know, and he has to deal with the consequences, try to redeem himself. It's a very, very good series. If you have not checked it out, I highly recommend it. It's complete at 7 volumes, so it's pretty short. Again, I can't recommend it any higher, honestly. All right, now we have Yotsuba and volumes 1 through 13. There is supposed to be a volume 14, but so far there's no confirmation at this point if it's going to be released or not. Yotsuba is one of the cutest series that I have ever read. It's about this little girl here, Yotsuba, and she moves into a new town with her father, and basically she discovers the world for the very first time. You know, it details her adventures, new people she meets, new things she discovers. Probably next to Silent Voices, probably my other highest recommendation. And it's very, very kid-friendly, so if you have a child that wants to get into manga, good choice right here. And then this I want to cover really quick. This is all of my Attack on Titan. We have volumes 1 through 9, 10 through 18, and then 19 through 21 for the main series. And then the spin-offs, we have No Regrets 1 and 2, and then Lost Girls 1 and 2. And I mean, you all know Attack on Titan doesn't need an explanation there. Alright, and then we have all of Sailor Moon. We have volumes 1 through 12 of the original series, Sailor V 1 and 2, and Sailor Moon Short Stories 1 and 2. Very good, very classic shoujo series. Probably one of the, I would probably say the most famous shoujo series out there. Sailor Moon was actually my first experience in anime. I had a cousin who pretty much was obsessed with it, and I would sit down and watch it with her, not really knowing what I was watching at that point. Not until I was a lot older, at least. I'm going to set this down here for 1 second, and then we have Blackbird 1 through 18. I actually got this in a box set for right around $70 for 18 volumes, so pretty much a steal. But Blackbird, again, is a shoujo romance series, but it's one of the darker series that I own. There is I wouldn't say battle scenes, but there are some bloody scenes in this, so if that's not something you're into, I would exercise caution. And then this I just want to show off really quick. This is the art book that came as a bonus with the Blackbird box set. Very good stuff in there. All right, this next shelf, we have Cells at Work Volumes 1 through 4, which is up to date. Just a little bit of background about me getting into this series. I work in healthcare, and when I heard this series was coming out in English, I just could not pass it up. Basically what it is, it's a shoujo, or not a shoujo, shonen series. But it talks about, you know, different cells in the body, like your red and white cells, your platelets, etc. That, you know, it details how they go about fighting off like different diseases and injuries, you know, and other catastrophes that can happen inside the human body. But it's very informative, but also extremely hilarious. High recommendation for me. And then we have the rest of my Legend of Zelda manga. That again, this is why I kind of had Twilight Princess separate. The animation, well, I shouldn't say the animation, but the art and the content is vastly different from Twilight Princess when compared to these ones. These are more child-friendly, so again, if you have a child that wants to get into manga, and you can actually get this in a box set. I think I got the box set for like 40 bucks for 10 volumes, so pretty good steal right there. And then next up we have Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma, volumes 1 through 18, which is up to date with the English releases. I was not sure if I would ever get into Food Wars, but after I previewed it online, I was completely sold on it. It's a cooking manga, to put it simply, but it ventures a lot deeper than that. There's definitely a reason why it has an older teen rating on it, but I'll let you discover that for yourself if you have not read it yet. And then here's another one of my favorites. We have Full Metal Alchemist, volumes 1 through 27, complete, and then the light novel, The Ties That Bind, that came with the box set. Full Metal Alchemist is a masterpiece by every stretch of the imagination. Hiromu Arakawa definitely just blew it out of the water. She is very talented, and I have to commend her for developing such an awesome series. But if you have not checked out Full Metal Alchemist, I'd highly recommend that you do. Again, I got this with the box set. Definitely worth your money doing it that way. All right, and then next up we have Pokemon Adventures. This is the Red and Blue Arc volumes 1 through 7 complete. Now one little note here. Pokemon Adventures is actually based off of the video game, not the anime. A lot of people do go into this thinking it's some tied to the anime, but it is not. I eventually am going to own the Gold and Silver arc because I was really into the Red and Blue and Yellow, and then Gold, Silver, and Crystal when I was a kid. I still play the Pokemon games to this day, although the anime, I kind of lost interest after the 3rd generation. All right, in the final row here, I have Behind the Scenes volumes 1 through 3, which is up to date for the English releases. Behind the Scenes it's an okay series. Not really anything amazing, and to be perfectly honest, even though it is pretty good, I've read things that are far worse. I just don't know if it's good enough for me to continue. Basically, Behind the Scenes is about a group of students who are going into the film and acting industry, and it just details their adventures and their work and things of that nature. But again, I really don't see myself continuing it after volume 3. And then here we have Haikyuu volumes 1 through 12, which is up to date with the English releases. I up to this point was not a fan of sports manga at all. Like, I just couldn't get into any of it, but then I got a recommendation for Haikyuu a while back, and I have not been able to put it down. Basically, it's about a bunch of high school students who play volleyball, trying to be the best that they can at volleyball, and it's really amazing. Definitely, if you're a sports manga fan, this is my #1 recommendation. If you're not, it's still a pretty good series to pick up. I definitely would at least check out the first few volumes, see if you like it. One thing that I do really like about Haikyuu that I don't see much in manga is it gets a monthly release as of right now, and I'm sure once it gets caught up to the Japanese releases, that will slow down quite a bit. But so far, we are getting monthly releases, and I couldn't be happier about that. All right, next up here we have one of my favorite shonen series to date. We have the glorious One Punch Man volumes 1 through 11, which is up to date with the English releases. All right, guys, I mean, it's One Punch Man. Again, you know, like some of these other series here, it really needs no explanation. Definitely, if you have not checked it out yet, I highly recommend you do. And this little bit here is a brand new series that I'm just now getting into. I haven't read these yet, but I cannot wait to do so. It is Barakeman, and we have volumes 1 through 5, which is not up to date. I believe in English there's like 14 volumes, maybe 15, I'm not too sure. But from what I've heard about Barakeman, it is one of the best slice of life manga out there. So I definitely am excited to get into it. All right, the very last bit here, we have What a Wonderful Life, my other Inio Asano work. Now, I'm working on volume 2 right now, but this is complete. Very good. I don't know, it's kind of a seinen slice of life type manga. But I absolutely adore it. And Asano's artwork, to me, is some of the best out there. So, especially if you love Solanin, it has a lot of similarities to Solanin, obviously. I would highly recommend picking that up. Then we have Nanan Biori, volumes 1 through 3. This is not up to date. I believe there's about 7 volumes out right now for this series. But it's a very good series. I've kind of put it on the back burner, though, just because there's other series I want to get into a little bit more. But it basically is about a group of 4 girls who grow up in a very rural country setting. And it just depicts their life, like going through school and home and, you know, various other things like that. But again, very high recommendation for me. All right, and then next up we have Yona of the Dawn, volumes 1 through 6, which is up to date in English. Yona of the Dawn is actually one of my more favorite anime and manga series as far as new ones go. I watched the anime. I'm actually getting ready to watch it a second time, but the anime was awesome. And I would have to say the same thing about the manga. The only bit that a lot of people may not like is it does get a little bit politically heavy at times. So if you're not a political person, you know, just exercise caution when you read it. But otherwise, it's a very, very good action-packed shoujo series. All right, and next up here we have The Heroic Legend of Arslan, volumes 1 through 6, up to date in English. It's written by Hiromu Arakawa, the same mangaka that wrote Full Metal Alchemist. But however, this is not her original story, though. This is an adaptation of a classic Japanese novel, but again, it's a very awesome series. It has a lot of, like, you know, knights. You know, it definitely takes a lot of inspiration from the Middle Ages of Europe and whatnot. But again, like Yona of the Dawn, it does get a little politically heavy at times. So, again, if you're not into politics, just be careful. All right, next up here we have Puella Magi Tart Magica, The Legend of Jeanne d'Arc, or Joan of Arc, volumes 1 through 3. And volume 4, I believe, is getting released in September sometime, but this is the tale of Joan of Arc done as a magical girl. And one thing that I really, really like about this, you know, it has that, you know, that magical girl fantasy type of weight to it, but it does not shy away from telling you what actually happened to the real Joan of Arc, which I think is absolutely amazing. Now, it gets really wordy when it does that, so it interrupts the manga quite a bit, but again, I do think it shows a lot of respect for Joan of Arc, that, it's just like, hey, yeah, we'll have a little fun with it, but here's what really happened to her. Again, high recommendation there. All right, we're close to the end here. We have Ranma 1/2, volumes 1 through 12, and these really, really pretty, I love these colors, 2-in-1 omnibus editions. And I have to say, Ranma 1/2 is probably one of the funniest manga series that I have read. I only seen a couple episodes of the anime, which the anime is good from what I've seen. I'd love to go back and watch it again, but the manga, I'll just stick with the manga for right now, but it is absolutely hilarious. If you have not checked out Ranma 1/2, I highly recommend you do. There's, I believe, either 36 or 38 volumes, which I will eventually get them all, but, I have other series that I want to get into, so I'll eventually get it completed. Don't worry, guys. All right, last but not least, we have Sweetness and Lightning, volumes 1 through 6. I believe this is up to date for the English releases. I've read 1 through 5. I just picked up 6 a few days ago, so I haven't gotten around to that. But Sweetness and Lightning is kind of a, I don't know if you would call it a parody, but it has a little bit of elements that are similar to Yotsuba, in that it centers around a little girl and her father, although the circumstances are a little bit different, but I'm not going to get into too much to avoid spoilers. But if you like Yotsuba, I would definitely check out Sweetness and Lightning. It's a very, very good, very cute series. All right, guys, that about wraps it up for today. We're just going to go over really quick, get another look at my collection. And thank you guys so much for watching. I do apologize if it's, again, not at the best quality. I'm hopefully going to get a nice HD digital camera, or not digital camera, but a camcorder at some point. And then I can record longer videos, more in-depth videos, but again, for the time being, we'll settle with my phone and a selfie stick. All right, guys, and if you like what you see, as I always say, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all later. Take care.